Welcome to episode 5 of Cain's Jawbone, where we're gonna discuss as much of the pages as possible. We're gonna do all the pages eventually. So today we're gonna do 4 pages. We're gonna do page 1, we're gonna do page 2, we're gonna do page 49, and another one, 13. I'm gonna do 49 and 13. I didn't write 13 down in my notes because 49 is the predecessor page through 13, and we know that due to the poem, as we did I think last episode. We also had one poem. I came across another one. I was like, great, we're gonna find the page that belongs with it, so we just can already pair up a little bit. Anyways, I'm not gonna make the introduction any longer. You know the deal. We're gonna discuss 4 pages. I'm gonna discuss the most clues on the page that I feel at least lead to something. If you want to read all of them, you can find a link in the description box down below. If you have other clues or you have tips or ideas or whatever, you can also let that know down below. So yeah, without further ado, let's discuss page 1. Look at this page. Okay, so this page 1, I've underlined quite a few things which might make you think, whoa, you probably have a lot of clues. Yeah, no. Well, I have a lot of clues, which I think are clues. I just have no idea what they're referencing. I literally got a tiny whiteboard for this, and I have space for a big one, and I think that this is good, so we're gonna... Oh shit. It's new. I literally got it half an hour ago. Watch me stain my pants when I drop the whiteboard. Yeah. It's self-knowledge, it's knowing who you are as a person. So page 1, this page, I always look at like, does it name places, or does it have names from someone, or do we know anything about the POV? This one is pretty, like, we can't really put anything out from the POV. There's no names mentioned, there's no places mentioned. There are like very few clues that I could mention. So at a certain point it mentions like a dead old man, or almost dead. And I thought last time we had one where an older gentleman was poisoned. So it's by poison, because he's in the hospital. It has not had much work since it flew so nimbly from the dead old man. Which we're talking about a pen, this mottled black and silver Aquarius with its nib specially tempered to my order in Amsterdam is greedy. So it does mention Amsterdam, but I think that it's more related to the pen, because you have Aquarius pen fountain heads or something. It refers to the type of pen that that person is writing with, and it was apparently this really expensive, very luxurious kind of brand, and it was apparently a very, very expensive pen. So what we kind of need to figure out is if the reference of the last page, the one I got with arsenic, I think it was arsenic, I don't know for sure. Anyways, if that's the same person, if that person had a pen, and maybe that will help us connect more pages to the story. Then we have, the next one is, but she has, I suppose, to have somebody. St. Lazarus in the Sheen is full, no doubt already. Now, St. Lazarus and Sheen is a church, a specific church in a gorge. There have been other pages with like mentions of churches in there. I don't think I have spoken about them in more detail on this channel, but there are pages with a church on there, so I'm just gonna write church. I think it's an important part to remember. For now, I am grouping this one with the other 2 pages that we have about the poisoning, because I feel like that just makes most sense now to put it in the page, but like with an asterisk, it's like this could go somewhere else. Thus far we have 3 victims, I think. We have a cleaning lady, we have a younger gentleman, and we have an older gentleman. There are 5 murders, 6 murders, 5. There are 5 murders. So I think, did I forget how many people were murdered? I have the book, which says 6 murders. It's great. I was like, it'll be fine, and I didn't buy like a eraser, so I have like a really tiny one. Lots more. you know what? This looks so silly. I feel silly doing it. That's clean. Okay. Page 2, which was a lot more promising. Alright, it's page 2, right? Page 2. Page 2. Look at all of them. Alright, so you see some pen in there as well. And so the one pen, I was like, I think that this is also a clue. And just underlined it. It doesn't mean anything more specific than that. Here's the thing. A lot of the literary references in this don't specifically align with literary references. So I got one, for example, that's like, the few remaining figures and letters swam as they came up to me, which is like the second sentence of this page. And I typed it in, I was like, I think it might mean something. And also like the Pied Piper of Hamelin as like a part of a poem, but like none of it is mentioned anywhere specifically, not even like a few words in a specific orders. Anyways, let's start off with names mentioned. Are we surprised? Henry. Henry is mentioned on this page. London is also mentioned, which is not weird. We have seen other pages with London. Okay, so this page talks about a funeral happening. It talks about, I think, a man's POV, because the way he describes the woman, he describes her as a dreadful beauty. And I feel like I've never heard a woman say another woman. It's like, she's a dreadful beauty. So it discusses a funeral of someone who died, and it's the writer died. Is that, and that's a very good question, the first POV? And are we now in the second POV? Right, so the writer has died, which is through the sentence, the writer had strangely died today. I think that maybe the writer, like the initial, or the original writer of the book that we see in like the very first page, or very first POV, is the writer. He dies, he passes away, and then we get another one. A lot more questions. I feel like we can slightly tie it into other pages, but again, also with the next page, I kind of put an asterisk in it because we're not really sure. We also have one where Henry has the hots. For a woman. He's like into her. He's feeling it. He's a little bit too chummy for a funeral. Because this person, Vivi, is looking for Henry, and then he finds her. Where was Henry? Ah, he was standing by her, close enough to touch the small, buoyant face that topped her pillared neck, most like a bellflower on its bed. So you have to stand pretty close by to do that. So yeah, I'm basically assuming that they're like super close together. So yeah, at least whether he's got hots for her or they're discussing something else, these two know each other. And I also find it very telling that he's talking about a bellflower, because I do have a specific page that came across in the first video where I made pages of things that came together that were mentioned on multiple pages, and we also have one that only mentions flowers. So maybe that ties into that one. So we're going on for the last two pages. So I'm gonna do in one go, which is page it shouldn't be that hard. 49 and 30. This is a part where we're kind of asking, do we see places or people mentioned? Who was mentioned? Henry. Least surprising person. Other than that, no other main names mentioned, no places mentioned. So next to Henry we have a POV, which is a woman. And these two pages kind of talk about her meeting him and kind of describing who Henry is. and kind of how she saw from how she tries to like flirt with him. You might question or wonder, like, how do you know it's a female POV? Because it could be anyone. And I get your point. I get your point, because like this could be anyone. Because everyone mentions Henry. He might have a lot of suitors. You don't know. Here's the thing. In page 13, which is the second page, the person describes: I touched my white cheeks until they blushed. So I'm assuming she kind of like does this. You know, like just like kind of pinch your cheek, kind of tapping on it to make sure that the blood rushes through it and you start blushing. As much as I love to think that a lot of men, I feel like a lot of men don't necessarily really make themselves blush like that on purpose. I'm saying it's a woman, simply because she's trying to like pinch her cheeks and make herself blush. She describes Henry, which we're gonna talk about. He has a cleft chin. It seemed that here was a man of no ordinary fascination, with a chin cleft like the chew cap of a setter's boot, and a little group of showy hairs behind each ear. Also, he was doomed to destroy for family reasons and to keep on destroying. So bad childhood. He has an empty pipe. He was a typical farm laborer with what they call in Bloomsbury a nudicate fringe. Just like that sort of a poet, I suppose they'd mean. He anchored himself heavily, consciously waving an empty pipe. So that fringe is very interesting because it's nudicate fringe. Which makes you think, okay, what are we talking about? If you have a Newgate fringe, it's like kind of like a little bit of a ring beard sort of thing. I'll insert a picture, but that's what they mean. So it's like a slight beard. Newdigate can also relate to the Newdigate Prize, which is a literary prize for poets in the Oxford University who are students there. We have another thing. Bloomsbury, obviously you think Bloomsbury Publishing, but that didn't exist until the 80s, so that's one is out of the question, naturally. But we do have Bloomsbury, a Bloomsbury group, it's just a Bloomsbury group, which is a group of intellectuals, that's what I wrote, of literary hoods in London's district Bloomsbury. I was initially looking for maybe there are people who are won a prize and are in this group, which isn't the case. So yeah, we have to look out whether we see people who are also in the Bloomsbury group who have either won the prizes or are referenced somewhere else. Now we have another very interesting aspect, is that on the second page it talks about two bodies that this woman has found, or no, not found, that's not mentioned, but she's in that room when Henry's also there. When he comes in, gets over and like kind of whistles, and I don't know if it's like, damn, they are dead, or damn, I've killed them. You know, like he's impressed on the fact that he's killed them. Which I don't know, but there's another part that we've mentioned before, I think in episode 3, where we also had a sudden in a room, in a hotel room, two bodies, and there was Henry in that room, there was another man, and then there was a woman. So is that tied to those pages? I think so. That means that we for that story already have like 4 pages, but from different POVs. So whether certain murders are mentioned in multiple stories or from multiple POVs, or it's all just wrapped up into one story. Then also, what I want to mention, the poem that ties these two together is by Henry Blake, and it's called Europe, a Prophecy. It's very bleak. Like, it starts off really good, and then it gets really bleak, and it kind of talks about the demise, I think, sort of demise of Europe, and how bad it can get, which might be interesting because she references it about her and Henry. She's like, I'm interested in him, but I'm also, like, mentioning this poem as, like, in what kind of, like, I like him, but, like, there's no future there. And maybe she doesn't realize that this poem is an omen for the fact that it is her death, like her demise by the hands of Henry. Who knows? So we have a few pages that are linked to other ones. I will probably make a video soon to kind of grasp them all together and just showcase kind of like what do we have so far to give you an update. But I think this video is long enough. I hope you enjoyed it. You know the drill. If you like this content, let me know down below, and you can subscribe and like to be more notified when the next video comes up. Thank you so much for watching, and then I see you guys again next time. Bye. Look, I'll give you now, I don't have terrible handwriting, but I don't have the best either. Like I will never be showing you my annotations because I'm forever jealous of the people who have like beautiful handwriting, right? It's just like they write and it works and you're like, well, you just made the book better. And if I do it, it's like, oh, you wrote in a book. Shit, you.